Hey, Nick, we need a tagline for the podcast.
No.
Real life opinions. Movie reviews told by fans and not critics.
Okay, here we are with real life opinions tonight. We are doing a quick overview of the Ghostbusters franchise. What we like about it, what we hate about it.
Settle down, Mike.
Hey. We've got the old 80s cartoon playing on the background. That is my childhood.
Oh,
right?
And you know what's fun fact? This is all I've always loved this association. In the Garfield cartoon, Lorenzo Music played the voice of Garfield. In the movie, Bill Murray played the voice of Garfield. In the Ghostbusters cartoon, Lorenzo Music was Venkman. And,
Bill Murray.
And then Bill Murray was in the movie Ghostbusters Venkman.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a 6 degrees of separation just with two characters.
Mike, were you too old when this cartoon came about?
I never watched I watched a couple episodes and stuff. I wasn't. I was. What year did it come out?
It was not that long. I would say 85.
85.
No, 85 was the movie. So probably.
No, movie was 84.
84. So I'd say 86. It probably came out.
So I was, looking for chicks. I was cruising the streets, living.
So you had a life.
Well, tried.
Weirdo.
I tried to, that sort of thing. So, and it was, it was great. Part was, I love that cartoon style, but I'm older now, and cartoons are better now. So,
are you sure?
Yep.
I've seen some of the.
So you're saying Adventure Time is better than Hercules?
Yes.
I don't,
Come on.
I don't know Adventure Time.
You said new cartoons, so.
Oh, I don't know.
Which Hercules are you talking about? Are you talking about the?
Hey, Herc! Hey, Herc!
Oh, yeah, that was terrible.
It was terrible. Thundercats. Okay,
Hercules.
is Thundercats better than Adventure Time?
I've never really watched Adventure Time because.
But that style, because that's kind of what all the modern cartoons took after was that style.
I would argue that there's probably more quality in Adventure Time than. And Thundercats was actually pretty high quality for its time.
Thundercats was amazing.
Wasn't much for plot and story though.
Of course. Remember Mask?
Oh yeah, Mask was so
great.
Cool.
Yeah.
See, when I look back to the cartoons that I really remember, it kind of went back to Looney Tunes.
It was black and white, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, we had a TV that we had to buy a special cover that clipped onto the front that would turn black and white into color.
What?
How
fucking old are you?
Well,
what kind of
69.
sorcery is this?
We were poor too.
So you couldn't afford the color TV, but you could afford the
color TV converter. Yeah.
Well, it's just a plastic sheet, right?
They had a giant 3D glasses.
Yeah, right.
See, if I Google cartoons of the '80s, like G.I. Joe, Beverly Hills Teens,
awesome,
Gem and the Holograms,
Snorks, My Little Pony,
He-Man,
Voltron, Brave Star, Ghost of Scooby-Doo, Care Bears, Gem.
Care Bears was great.
Don't screw with Care Bears.
Yeah.
Smurfs, Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Alvin was great.
Yes.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
This statement kills me, guys. Those cartoons are not as good as you think they are. Not anymore. They do not hold up.
Twice in a row.
This coming from the man who thinks that Jurassic Park is a horror movie.
Your opinion is invalid. In a group called Real Life Opinions, we don't care about your opinion.
That's called nostalgia, Jeff. Stop messing with our nostalgia.
Okay. Some of them are quite good still, but like most of those that you just listed off are not near as good as we all remember. Like you said, that's nostalgia.
I Googled because I realized that I might be a child of the 80s, which means my teenage years were 80s. When I go to the 70s, Super Friends, that was huge for me. Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo started in 69. So
Fat Albert and the Cosby Kids. Oh my God. Hey.
Scooby-Doo.
Looney Tunes.
Scooby-Doo kind of holds up better than it's got any business.
Alan is going to murder you.
There have been so many iterations of Scooby-Doo since then, though.
Yeah.
Yes, but he's got
Like,
their original set.
Scooby-Doo-
Were their eyes were the color of their skin?
I kind of love still to this day, the original Scooby-Doo, Where Are You?
The
Come
new
on, Casey
Fantastic
Kasem.
Four.
Mm-hmm.
The new Fantastic.
Oh, Wheelie and the Chopper Bunch. Oh,
I
my
have no idea
God.
what you just
I
said.
love that one. Wheelie and the Chopper. There was a kid that rode around on a moped and he had to pedal, but when it was when it was time to become a superhero, Wonder Wheels, and it was just like, and he would turn into this wicked chopper and he'd save the world and whatever.
Okay.
So 70s, man.
I go back to my statement about how like these things probably aren't as good as you remember them being.
They're only as good as your nostalgia wants them to be.
As a millennial baby, Laura,
You're one to talk.
you're more of a millennial than me. Was this a
Like, what, 2
cartoon that you
years?
watched a lot as a kid?
Yes.
Okay.
This one and G.I. Joe and
This one held a special place for me until the Ninja Turtles came around,
Mhm.
and then Ninja Turtles totally.
Totally.
So
100%.
I did not watch the movies. Well, I watched number 2 as a kid, but I did not watch number 1 until I was like an adult.
Which one are we
Are
talking
we
to?
talking movies
Turtles?
or
Ghostbusters.
cartoons?
Ghostbusters. Really?
Yeah, Ghostbusters. I didn't like the flavor when I was a kid of like those darker shows, and the original Ghostbusters movie was too dark for me when I was a kid. Did not like it.
It was a dark PG. It had its comedy, but it was a dark PG. Like the cab driver scene did not belong. It was too scary for that
Yeah.
movie. I would not let my kids watch that. I cover their eyes for that scene because like the cab driver corpse there, when the ghost, like when they break open the thing and all the ghosts escape.
Okay,
Anyway,
sure.
yeah.
Ghostbusters is literally the reason that I'm allowed to do the scary stuff in my yard for Halloween.
But it's funny because then in Ghostbusters 2, which was so lighthearted, that scene in the subway was scarier than it had any business being.
Yeah, we got to go back to why you're allowed to do Halloween stuff because of Ghostbusters, Laura.
Yeah, I'm kind of
Because
interested.
all the corpses in that.
So
Okay, so
Are they real? Because they're real, aren't they?
Sometimes.
I think they're real.
Sometimes.
Yeah, this is Laura.
Depends. So you have to understand, like when I first had Victor and everything, we were growing up, it was, oh, you're not allowed to, don't have it too scary. It's got to be nice. It's got to be cuddly. And it's like, you know what? To hell with that shit. My kid at 1 year went out as freaking Frankenstein. Because,
As well he should.
as he should.
Yeah.
The first show he watched, and this is what started the whole thing, was vampires.
Nice.
like the James Wood vampires.
Like John Carpenter's
Like John
vampires?
Carpenter's
That is James
vamp-
Woods, yeah. That is
Yes.
James Woods, yeah. So
All I remember from that is like the theme or the song for the commercials for that. Like, it was like
I watched that in the
part-
theater actually.
The one part like where the vampire comes in and he massacres everybody in the
Mhm.
motel. Victor literally watched that and passed out. He
Yeah.
slept like in literal terms, he slept like a baby that night. Not a problem.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say, you're talking about darkness and whatever, and you didn't like that. Was the darkness of Ghostbusters as dark as Scrooged?
Well, I
The
didn't,
Christmas movie?
No.
Because they both had a similar tone.
Well, it did, but
Scrooge
Scrooge was not as dark.
Scrooge.
Scrooge was not as dark.
You don't think it was as
It
dark?
had its darkness, like because obviously there was ghosts. There was
Yeah.
well, there was ghosts, but there was more like the boss was essentially a zombie and all this stuff. But it was not scary.
Okay.
Whereas, well, except for arguably the
it's-
future one, but
I didn't like Scrooge as a kid either because like it was right on that line.
And that makes
right?
sense. It's the tone that you described.
but I think with Ghostbusters, everything else was so light that dark scene you could look past it.
Well,
And realistically, the new Disney version of A Christmas Carol is darker than Scrooge.
It is, and
Well,
it's
is-
closer to the book.
is this the Jim Carrey version
Yeah.
you're talking about?
Yeah,
I've yet to see that.
it's
That
intense. It's intense.
I don't. Those Uncanny Valley CGI stuff.
Like Polar Express,
Oh,
etc.
You can
Yeah.
you can get over it really fast in this one.
I
Just the
agree.
way that it plays out.
Yeah.
Well,
you
they
can
actually
get
start
over
with Marley's funeral, which is
Yes.
how the book
Oh.
started.
Right.
Nobody realized that's how the book started. Like
with him
everyone, like
taking
you
the
think of
points.
Disney, you think of the Scrooge McDuck, which is, in my opinion, one of my favorite. But it's everybody always starts. Marley's already dead. Marley's already
Yeah.
dead. But the funeral scene alone at the beginning of the book / the Jim Carrey is pretty freaking dark.
So literally, the Muppet one, when they go, Marley was dead, but they completely skip over seeing all of it. No, he's there, he's watching it, and you see him pluck the coins off his eyes.
Well, and that line is from the book when the Muppet line. It's like Marley was dead as a doornail or something like that. Blah blah. That was right out of the book. So, but Dickens had a way with words, obviously. So
that's dark, plucking it right off of his eyes like that. Like I didn't realize. I know Dickens was dark, but I didn't realize that was something that happened in the
When
story.
was that written? 1800s?
yeah. Oh, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, Bram Stoker was 1892 for Dracula. So,
well, yeah, and Mary
Dickens
Shelley's Frankenstein was.
or was it 1896? It was 1896. Anyway,
She was before Dracula, I do believe.
But it's all in the 1800s.
Yeah.
Mid to mid. Yeah. So I mean, you didn't have censorship back then.
no.
Well,
If you didn't like it, your parents.
What did you read about that thing where schools are banning To Kill a Mockingbird because it made people uncomfortable? And then there's a meme about it. It's like, that's the whole fucking point of the book.
Yeah.
for a while there, they were banning The Outsiders and Of Mice and Men and
Lord of the Flies.
yeah.
How dare we give these youth of today outrageous ideas?
Jeff, bring it down. You're making me emotional with your sensitive voice.
Oh my God.
I need. It's my right to have you.
I'm
Sorry.
glad that's facetious because that was making me a little angry. I
Okay,
twitched a little.
We're agitating Laura now. She doesn't realize I'm being facetious.
Oh no, I know.
Hey, remember back in the day when we were doing Ghostbusters?
Yeah, what happened there?
Yeah.
We got
the
on the
tangent got
Dickens.
onto cartoons, and the cartoons took onto the tangent.
Dark.
Yeah,
Oh,
darkness.
okay, so we've got the cartoon in the background. That makes sense to get to cartoons. How did we get to Dickens?
Okay, well that's
What's that,
dark
Dickens?
Because we started talking about
because the
Scrooge.
comparison to you said you're the one that did it. You said the darkness of the Ghostbusters. I compared it to
The first one.
Scrooge.
to Scrooge, which means
I thought you said that.
He did.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
What you just said.
But
Okay.
he set
Basically.
me on the path to the darkness because it had
To the dark
I
side.
felt it had the similar tone.
Fear leads to hate, hate leads to suffering.
Anyway.
Wait. I need to know. This is a serious question. If you just went to the dark side, Mike, do they actually have cookies?
Yeah, but there's fucking raisins.
Oh, no!
Hey, man.
That's
Oatmeal,
why I have trust issues.
oatmeal raisin cookies are my favorite
You
cookies.
and I are the only ones allowed there.
Yeah.
Coming to the dark side, we have cookies.
Did you make any, by the way?
No, I didn't.
Aw.
God,
I did make sure.
he really is evil.
They look
Yeah,
like
at least
chocolate
we got some
chip.
chocolate chips here.
I don't remember any pie.
Okay,
Nice.
do we want to get on the rails again?
Okay.
Okay,
Sorry,
so we're
Chronological.
we're doing an overview. I don't know if we established that yet, but we're doing an overview of the franchise because in the vein of the fact that the new movie just came out, and we're kind of going between. Is the movie only, or is the franchise only good because of nostalgia, or is it legitimately good?
Yes.
I'm
into the nostalgia thing.
I'm one of the few people that really actually enjoyed the 2016 version. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate online for that, but I actually think
That's the women's one, so just so you know.
You got a lot of hate just right here.
Yeah.
across the
Like
table.
you needed a movie for that.
I think it's much better done than people give it credit for. You could say it's lost a little bit of the heart from the original
It had
movie.
no heart in it.
A little bit.
You're
I
not
think it
giving
was-
enough credit. You're really not giving enough credit.
I think it was just a different heart.
Yeah.
This one was a plastic mechanized thing.
Eh.
That one had blood and
It pumped.
well, this one pumped too. But we're just
It's like an iron lung.
It was like a synthetic. It was like a synthetic.
Yeah.
It was made in a different era, and it showed it was made in a different era. And I think people didn't like it because
It was like only 8 years ago.
Yeah, but it was a different era from the original.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. I'm sorry. Okay.
And I could argue that it could be incredibly well done, but the
I'm
nature-
not saying it's incredibly well done.
Okay.
I'm saying it's better than
Okay,
people.
in any
Did
sense,
you just say it's
something
better than the original?
No.
I said it's better than people
Give
give
it credit
for,
for,
and,
yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
not bad.
and I could say when I critique all the movies we do, it could be a fairly well done, but it doesn't resonate with those who created the original. And that's the problem, right? So we grew up with it and we know this, and then we want to change everything. And you and I had it was like 4 people, we replaced it with 4 women. And one of them was black, and 3 of them was this. We took the secretary, switched it to a man. It was too
Fucking Chris Hemsworth.
it was a formulaic reversal, and that was a problem.
You gotta,
I think.
you gotta point it out on this one too. Like, so you take the original secretary. She was not dumb by any means.
No,
She was ditzy, but she wasn't dumb.
She was ditzy, but she wasn't dumb. And then you put Chris Hemsworth in there,
Who was ditzy and dumb?
who is the epitome of a dumb blonde.
Well, that was the point. That was his character, right? So
Hot take: Chris Hemsworth is the funniest character all of Ghostbusters. I'm not even
in that movie, I'll agree.
No, all franchise. Funniest
No.
character.
I don't know, man. Rick
and
Moranis. All I gotta say.
I don't know. I'm gonna abstain from that just because I don't.
More laughs from me than any other.
I mean, he
character
was
in the
funny. He
entire
was.
franchise.
Yeah, but you put him in that atmosphere. You put him in the atmosphere with Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and all these other guys.
Bill Murray, yeah.
Bill Murray. Yeah, it's a different ballpark.
I'm not saying that Chris Hemsworth is a funnier person. I'm saying that particular character is funnier than any other character in the Ghostbuster movies.
I still stick with Rick Moranis.
Yeah.
You know, Rick Moranis is pretty funny too, but no one made me laugh as loud. Maybe Bill Murray. There was a couple times where Bill Murray was being Bill Murray, but like Chris Hemsworth had me like freaking.
Was that one before or after Ragnarok?
Before.
Before.
Quite a bit before.
Okay.
Well, not quite a bit. Probably only a couple of years.
It was
Yeah,
right around, 'cause I remember
it was
hearing
right-
Chris Hemsworth complaining he wanted more humor in Thor, and then Ragnarok came out.
And then Watiti or whatever came around and absolutely butchered the franchise.
Well, I don't want. I didn't want.
We're not. No, no, we're yeah,
I don't
no.
want to trigger anybody.
No,
White
I'm
flag,
done.
white flag.
But my point is that Hemsworth wanted to do more comedy and whatever. And I remember if it was after Ragnarok, I totally would have hated his character completely. But as far as you liked him, that's cool. But I found it like more of an eye roll kind of character for me.
That's how I feel about Rick Moranis now. Like some of the Rick Moranis stuff is a bit of an eye roll.
None of them aged well.
Yeah.
Like
Rick Moranis is Rick Moranis is Rick Moranis. It's sad but true. But I mean, his SCTV, his characters were essentially
Strange
all the same, right?
Oh.
my God.
Bob McKenzie.
Yeah,
So, or actually, was he Doug? I can't remember. Either way, him and
that was Bob.
yeah, I
Bob
think
and
so.
Doug.
I'm sure he was Bob.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
Is
he
he
was
Bob?
Bob. I think he was Bob.
Because as I look at the TV screen, Bob was always on the left,
Yeah,
Doug was on the right, and it was Rick on the left. So I assume it's
yeah,
Bob.
yeah. That sounds right. But yeah, so Rick Moranis did pretty much play the same. I mean, Little Giants was a lot of fun with him, but
I
Oh,
liked
man,
him in
I
Honey,
forgot
Shrunk
about
the
Little-
Kids.
Yeah.
Honey, I
He
Shrunk
was
the Kids
different
was
in
good.
that.
Yeah,
He
he
was-
was. Yeah, he wasn't as slapsticky in that movie. He was just silly dad,
Yeah.
which was good. I really didn't like I Blew Up the Kid. So
That was a
yeah.
franchise where like you had such a grounded, fun first movie, and then like the second movie felt so sterilized. Like
so
that was just
money grab.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It was just like the first one felt real and gritty, right? And then that second one was just like it felt like everything was shot against a white wall.
I get it. French class.
That's the biggest tragedy I felt. We talk about how Ghostbusters has evolved, and they wanted a Ghostbusters 3 for years.
They just couldn't
and
get
they couldn't get
funding.
the right people, the funding, and this
Yeah.
and that. And then
because he wanted to go insane.
yeah,
Dan had the script.
yeah.
If did you? I don't
I
look like
heard-
much of a video game guy, but did you ever play the Ghostbusters video game that came out in 2010?
Probably not.
No. So that was the story he wanted for Ghostbusters
Oh,
3,
okay.
and it was dark, and it was they go to hell in it, and yeah, like it's
Yeah.
not in the figurative sense, but literally. And what's it called? It was dark and it was twisted and it was amazing. But the amount of money they alone to spend on the effects for that, they just couldn't do it.
I felt like the passing of Harold Ramis and then the female version coming out killed any momentum of the franchise.
Well, female was first.
Yes.
Yeah,
no. Harold had passed when the female one came out because they had a cameo from each one of the original
Except
Ghostbusters.
for-
Harold.
Except for Harold, it was just a bust in
Yeah.
the.
Did they have Keith? David Keith?
David Keith.
Or who's the black guy?
Winston's not
Ernie
played by
Hudson?
David Carradine.
Ernie Hudson?
Yeah,
Oh.
Ernie Hudson. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking of the other black guy.
Wow!
Wow.
Weren't you guys
No,
calling
no.
me racist
No,
a
there's
few
a-
podcasts ago?
I mean,
Hold
David
on,
Keith
hold
is
on.
great, but it's not David Keith. So.
But they're similar in their stature and physicality, right?
But like, listen to them
They're
talk.
big. They're big.
Yeah,
Well,
David Keith is like
I'm a
butter.
visual person.
It's like
Ernie Hudson's not a huge man. Like, I guess
David Keith's voice is
Yeah.
like a freaking phenomenal voice.
Okay.
I mean, he was Goliath in
He was-
Gargoyles.
He was in Roadhouse.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was. He didn't have any lines. He was a
I-
bartender.
Didn't like whatever Patrick Swayze, so a lot of his movies didn't grab me to go watch.
man,
I've heard Roadhouse is amazing. I've never watched it.
I guess watched it last night. I don't
The
remember him.
original?
No, Conor McGregor one.
Oh, he got that one.
Yeah, I know David Keith's not in that one.
Yeah.
The remake's better than I thought it was going to be.
Oh, yeah. Harold Ramis
it was-
died in 2014, and that movie came out in 16. So yeah, there you go.
As a quick diversion, the new Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal is a great movie. It's just not Roadhouse.
Yeah.
There was too many diversions from it, but it was a
Which
good
is
movie.
okay if it's a standalone movie that works well.
I just wish
it's
they could have
okay.
named it or
Back
something.
on Ghostbusters.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
complained that the female Ghostbuster was too much like the first one, and here we are complaining that Roadhouse has too many diversions from the
No.
original.
I,
Roadhouse.
my comment was that it was too flipped. Like it was absolutely perfectly opposite. Is what I mean. You know, female to male. I guess they should have had 3 black and 1 female. But I mean, and that was the thing. It was too mirrored onto it. And they didn't have the same value that the original guys brought to it. No offense to them.
Dan
The actresses.
Aykroyd always wanted it to be a bringing up the new generation, which is why I think Afterlife works so good.
I was just
Afterlife
going to
was
say
so
that.
good.
So because of the fact that
The
you
tribute.
had the tribute,
I-
yes, but
It was
you
an
had-
empty tribute to me.
But you
Like he's gone already.
right, but they still did a tribute to him in their own way, and the fact that at least 3 of them were there with these kids, and then it was all of a sudden, oh, we're going to train you. The new ones work better for me than the female cast.
What I don't like about the new one is just kind of like the first movie establishes that it's like these 3 scientists working together to build this equipment and everything like that. And then Afterlife comes along. Oh, anybody can fucking run our stuff. It doesn't matter. You'll be some idiot science teacher or these kids. My grandkid
Who's
gets
the idiot science teacher?
Paul Rudd.
Oh, so he's in the new both of them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
And I think I was gonna say too, the problem I think Paul Rudd is a great performer and all that stuff.
Ageless Wonder.
But I think Marvel has killed these people because I'm tired of them now.
I still, and this is really, 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 really impressive. I don't associate Paul Rudd with Ant-Man.
No.
I still associate Paul Rudd as the actor for all his stuff he's done. Ant-Man's just a facet. Whereas you get like Chris Hemsworth, you get
Oh,
Robert
they're
Downey
worse.
Jr.
They're-
Robert Downey Jr. You're pigeon-toed, right? It's like, oh, he's Iron Man. That's it. He's this. That's it. He's this. And even granted, Robert won the Academy Award, but he's still going to be known as Iron Man. But Paul Rudd to me is not known as Ant-Man. It just happens to be one character he's played. Everything he's done has been amazing. Honestly, my association with Paul Rudd is the movie I Love You Man with Jason Segel.
He's excited about this.
I
don't know what
I agree with Corey on this. Like, if there was any MCU actor that didn't get super tied to their character, it was Ant-Man. Like, you see Paul Rudd, you don't see Ant-Man, right?
Okay, no, I disagree, but I'll tell you why. I agree that he's not nearly as bad as the others.
Well,
But Chris
movie
Evans,
quantity,
Chris
though.
Evans is another one where I don't think it is bad either, because I loved his Fantastic Four and I loved his other stuff.
The Losers, such a great movie.
But I don't know what Paul Rudd has done other than Ant-Man
Again,
and some rom-coms and whatever.
Watch I Love You, Man. It's like the ultimate bromance movie.
The guy from How I Met Your Mother?
Yeah.
I don't like him either.
But
I've never been a
their
fan of him.
bromance is like top notch.
Yes. And I think it's just the movies that Paul Rudd, you followed him better.
Friends, man. He married Phoebe.
Oh yeah, but these are like Paul Rudd, these little snippets in time, and I never really knew his work.
Wasn't he in a Hughes movie too?
Which movie?
The John Hughes movie?
I don't know. He's been in so many
Anyway,
movies.
yeah.
He was in Romeo and Juliet, so.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway. So, yeah, that's right.
Right, Laura?
Yeah, sure. So
I think we've lost her.
Wow. Laura,
So-
get on track here.
We're definitely
We're
not doing this
we-
chronologically.
We got to call Laura out here. Get on track. Get on track here, Laura.
So let's talk. We talked about the first movie. It grabbed all of our attention when it came out. Obviously, like I was 5 when it came out. So
I was 1.
Yeah.
Laura,
So
were you
Came out
even
84?
born when it
84.
came out?
84?
I was 1.
You were 1 in 84?
No, I'm sorry. No, I wasn't. I was not born because I was born in August in '85.
yeah. So none of us, except for Mike, probably remember when it came out.
Yeah, I was
But
15,
yeah,
so-
but what's it called? It's something everybody grew up with. I watched it on TV. I watched it on the super channels. I watched it. You know, I guarantee I had the VHS. It was great. And then
I got to ask Mike a question before I forget here. Was it a big movie at the time?
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah.
We were talking about these guys. Yeah, these guys were a team. They were one of these films. We had Stripes. With Bill
Ivan
Murray,
Reitman.
You know, and
Yeah.
these guys have been working together, and so it was one of these things where they're back at it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's completely different, and so we were excited. And the one thing I was going to say about being there in the theaters and being there at the time, I was at that age. It was a fun movie. I rolled my eyes at the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, and I laughed, and it was silly and it was stupid, and I had a great time.
Yeah. No, but
And that was why I enjoyed the 2016. I went to go that one with my kids. It was silly. It was fun. I laughed. Yeah, it was stupid.
and what I don't get for myself is I love stupid movies. I do, and I won't defend them per se, but I love a shut your brain off movie. And I don't know why I have such distaste towards the 2016 one.
Because of the internet.
Maybe.
internet.
And I have no problem
Because of the
saying
internet.
maybe. Like, again, it wasn't a great movie by any stretch of the term, but maybe it was better than I'm giving it credit for. Maybe I deserve a rewatch. I haven't watched it since like 2017. So maybe I will give that one another chance.
So, Laura, is Ghostbusters 2 the one that resonates with you? Because that was kind of the one that resonated with me because of that with age. I think that one came out in 1990.
89, 90, one of the
It
two.
was still the first one.
It was still the first one, even though it came out before you were born.
Mm-hmm.
When did you watch it?
I would have been like 3.
Yeah. Well, you were always kind of a horrophilic,
Always.
right? So
When did you first consciously watch it?
I
Yeah.
was about 3.
Man, I didn't sit through shit when I was 3. So.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, see, in my house, kids were to be seen and not heard. So
Well,
you
they-
consciously watch.
And yet here we are.
You are being heard now, Laura.
I'm being heard now,
Hmm.
fucker.
Sometimes too much.
So
What?
as
And
Okay.
this is why you are who I say you are.
so
Wait, what?
You'll fucking
Yeah, I'm confused too.
you'll figure it out.
Anyway.
So we attached the original. There's a lot of nostalgic fun from all of us, from whether you watched it when it was 10 years old or whether you watched it when you were 14, as like me. How did the second one compare to the first one? Here's my question.
It didn't feel... It was more slapsticky in a lot of ways
Yeah.
than the
Was
first
it a
one.
drop or a rise?
It was a slight... Oh, no. Definitely the first one's still better.
Yeah.
It was a slight drop, though. Like, it didn't nosedive by any means, but it was definitely a drop.
It was the same story. It was like if the complaint with the third one was a retread, with that one was like a pure retread. It was a different character, but they almost had Like
You
a
didn't even
lot of
recognize Ernie Hudson. He looked like a completely different actor in that movie.
My
Two?
issue,
Yeah,
my issue with number 2 is it felt forced.
that's because it was.
Well, you know, you
Back
kind of.
then, sequels were money grabs.
Yeah.
Bill Murray did not want to be there. Bill Murray was a big reason why 3 didn't happen for a long time.
Huge reason.
But guys, we have to take a quick break here, and we'll be right.
Today, all new episode. Yeah! It's Slimer and the real Ghostbusters!
So we got to talk about number 2 for a moment here. Like, I got a bit of a soft spot because it was my first Ghostbuster movie, but is it the weakest? Like, if
Out of what?
all 4 of them.
What was the premise of it?
Dana's had a baby. Her baby gets essentially sought after by a deity.
He wasn't actually a deity.
Well, essentially a demon. But anyway, and he wants to invade. The demon wants to invade the baby's body to come into the new millennium because it's the Vigo the Carpathian.
There was something about the slime.
There's a reverse angry. No, other way around. The anger and everything was turning into a slime.
But if it was happy, it made the Statue of Liberty dance.
What was
you are not helping sell this movie.
Why in the mid to late 80s was New York in every movie?
Because it was fun to destroy.
Okay, here's the same question. Why in Marvel's Help in Hell do they have 40 million superheroes all based out of New York? Yet New York is always the one.
Jeff, you're saying the 80s. Up until 9/11, they were always destroying New York.
I have an answer for Mike about New York. You know why there's so many superheroes based out of New York is because Marvel's office was based out of New York, and they wanted to have realism. They wanted people from different suburbs of there. That's why, like, Spider-Man's from Queens. Daredevil's is from Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
Like,
but why is New York such bad shape when they got all these superheroes? Spider-Man, Daredevil, Fantastic Four, goes on and on and on.
See, and I can't think outside of Metropolis, Gotham, and Bloodhaven.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, there's Star City, and then
Star City. That's all I got. Yeah. Anyway,
that's
which is still
mascara?
3 more.
No, there's another one. There's Coast and all these other ones. But
anyway,
yeah. What's the Flash is like? It's 2 cities.
Twin Cities.
It's
kind of a lot of them are based off of real cities, but that's
Metropolis, at least in the books, essentially was New York.
Yeah.
And Gotham was essentially Pittsburgh, and that's why they filmed Rises in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So Pittsburgh, eh? I was trying to. I could never pin down where Gotham was supposed to be.
It would switch over the decades too.
Of course, yeah.
Because Gotham got more like New York after time, and then Metropolis is more like Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing.
I've always felt like Metropolis is New York, but I guess I hear where you're coming from with it because it has become very sunny, right?
When I grew up, New York was not a nice place.
Oh yeah.
And I think
you mean it is now?
What's that?
You mean it is now?
Well, Giuliani, as bad as he is now, he actually he did a lot of flip-flopping in New York.
He went a little eccentric after a while, though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He kind of went over the deep end, but he did tame New York quite a bit. And
is he still a governor?
No, I don't think he's allowed anywhere near.
Yeah,
My God, did you
small
see
children?
Episode,
anyway,
what was that? What's that singing where they get dressed up in costumes?
Masked Singer.
Masked Singer. He was on there.
Oh, my wife watches that show.
Oh my God! It was just like the audience when they unmasked him. The audience just shut up. They said nothing. Fucking Ken walked off. He left it.
Really?
And they still aired it.
Huh.
It was just like holy shit. Did
you see? I don't know if you watched that show. My wife watches it like religiously. But did you see the Mickey Rourke one?
Yeah. He just unmasked himself.
He literally it's like perform, and like they're always going to be in the season. End of his song, he rips off his mask. I'm like, that's not how this show works.
He had a night, wanted to do it for his kids, and he didn't have the time.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not gonna go through this whole fucking thing.
Anyway.
So
part 2.
Laura, how do you feel about part 2?
It wasn't as good as the first one, and I personally preferred not the female version. That one doesn't count.
So out of
totally counts.
1, 2, 3, 4, not including 5 because we haven't seen it yet. Out of 1, 2, 3, 4, what do you rank it?
Probably 4th.
Really?
Number 2 is 4th?
Yeah.
Really?
So the female version was better?
I think it's the number 2, yes.
Wow.
See, I find this interesting because in my mind, Ghostbusters 1, Ghostbusters 2, Ghostbusters female version, and Ghostbusters Afterlife only came up a little bit, and they damn well knew what they were doing. The only value in my mind of that one was a sweet little tribute to Harold.
I think
that was a pretty touching
no
tribute.
value.
I almost cried. Let's put it that way. So
I didn't have that connection with him, so it didn't bite me. And of course the Stranger Things.
I don't like Finn Wolfhard.
Yeah,
I mean,
and that's the thing. They were trying to jam what's popular, what's this, how many things can we get to make us money, and Stranger Things was huge. Paul Rudd was just killing it as Ant-Man. He was in popularity. He's a funny guy. And Harold Ramis, we got to do this or whatever. It felt too forced for any value for me.
It felt like a natural sequel to me. It did. And like, I guess I don't know if I had my chance to talk about it yet, but I if I would rank them, it would be 1, 4, 2, 3. So.
Interesting. 1, 4, 2, 3, eh? I appreciate your comments about the 4th one because, like, I think in my mind it was really well done. But I agree with almost all the points you got to make. Like, you know, I've already stated before how annoyed I was. Just like kids find the stuff and they can run it, right? Like, you know, and any Ghostbuster movie we're gonna get from here on out is gonna be a cash grab, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I can appreciate a little bit they tried to do a new universe and tried to get away, at least there at one point, but...
I could see this equine body on the ground, wires and hoses, keeping the heart pumping. So and that's the franchise.
Yeah.
So the thing to make Ghostbusters is literally going into 9 love.
Yeah.
So, Mike, what would be you said your ranking is 1, 2, 3, 4?
I mean, okay, 2 was, I don't even remember. I remember vague things. Afterlife, I remember more because it was more of a public spectacle. So I do 1, 2, 4, 3. Just actually, now that I think about it.
Okay, what was that again?
1, 2, 4, 3.
1, 2, 4, 3.
But you could swap 4 and 2.
Okay.
You know, one was I don't remember it. The other one was annoying. So
2 was the first one with not as much heart. That's what 2 was.
I honestly don't.
2 was more of a cash grab than Afterlife, and 3 combined.
Yeah, totally.
So,
I mean, I just like I keep forgetting. Was it Strange Brew that didn't get a sequel, or was it Ghostbusters? Oh no, Ghostbusters did get one. That's where my mind goes.
Yeah.
And it's just like it didn't hit.
For dumb fun movies, my ranking would probably be 3, 4, 1, 2. For fun dumb movies.
That is really low for 1.
If I had to put it into an order that way,
I don't think 1's as good as we all remember. Like I like 1.
right?
But
1 is always good because it's the first time.
Yeah.
Right? You know?
But like, you know, I think
Empire Strikes Back can't exist without A New Hope.
Yeah.
So there's a certain weight we'll always give to that which introduces
Well, back
us.
in the day, it was not unheard of that the sequel was better than the original. Aliens was better than Alien. Terminator 2 is better than Terminator. But then at the same time, on the general,
you're talking
on the
about
whole,
the outliers, though, Corey.
Well,
like, those were exceptions to the rule, not the
Godfather 2. And
exceptions to the rule, not the rule, though.
But at the same time, the other half was, yes, the sequels generally sucked. That is what it is. Cameron, for the most part, was the guy that proved that wrong, and then a couple other people. So, except for Avatar. Avatar sequel sucked.
So the thing I like about Ghostbusters, the thing is true for Ninja Turtles 2 about the 4 personalities. Like we've got the heart, the brains, the mouth, and the everyman or the hired gun in here. I've always liked that kind of.
You're like everybody.
Huh?
You're like everybody.
No.
Am I? I'm the heart, the mouth, the brain, and the everyman all at once, eh? Well, I'm the perfect Ghostbuster.
Yeah. No, I already know who I would be, and I can give reasons, but we're not at that point yet. So
I wanted to ask you guys who everybody thought each other was here. Like, so Egon is the brain, right, guys?
yes,
I think so.
Harold Ramis.
Yeah, probably.
Egon was the brains.
Yep.
Winston was the hired help / everyman.
yeah,
Who's Winston?
the black guy,
Okay.
Ernie Hudson,
Oh God, why can't Ray
Stantz.
is the heart.
Yep.
That's
They even say that.
Was he not a scientist too?
He
That's Dan Aykroyd, right?
was
He
a
was-
scientist too.
Yes.
Because I know Bill Murray's character was not.
He was a parapsychologist, is all he was.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
kind of
So he's got a PhD, but
He
Yeah.
still
doesn't make
has
him
to
smart.
as a
Not that
doctor.
kind.
yeah.
yeah.
It's-
Egon was the brains, and Egon stepped up, or Ray stepped up with Egon,
Yeah.
but wasn't at his
But-
level,
See,
right?
Egon was brain smart, whereas Ray was occult smart. Like he could tell you anything to do with the occult,
Mhm.
and
but he couldn't tell you what the atomic weight of cobalt was.
And Winston was street smart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then Bill
Common
Murray was
sense.
just comic
Yeah.
relief.
So I'm Winston.
you're.
At least you're not saying you're Egon, because you were going to say that. So
I want to hear who is everybody, Mike. I want to hear who you think everybody is. I have my list. I want to hear everybody's
What
list.
was Bill Murray's character again?
Venkman.
Peter Venkman.
So which one of us four is Venkman?
Can I have 4 Venkmans?
No, yeah. I realize we're doing a podcast in which we all talk.
I'm quiet. What are you talking about?
Well, it's okay. If we're looking at the smart one, he's also the driven one, and then Dan Aykroyd is what
The heart and soul.
Yeah, things kind of fall apart without the heart, right? Like the heart is there. He's like, oh,
I
does
gotta
he
put
really
you with
fucking?
the heart. Then.
Okay.
Aw.
And I'm only thinking in the lines of the podcast. I think you push as hard as anybody to keep the podcast going. So I'll give you the heart. So if we're got to be the Ghostbusters, then I got to give you the Harold Ramis.
Egon?
I mean,
The
Egon,
smart one?
because I think you have more knowledge.
Who are we viewing?
in the what's that?
Who
You
are
were kind of pointing in a general
Yeah.
direction.
Oh,
Laura?
Laura.
You
Okay.
have to
She
say
tends to
Laura.
have more a broader scope of knowledge with Shakespeare and this and that.
See,
And
this
I'm
is
just
what happens when you pay attention in school.
so and so that leaves the sarcasm has to go. So you're
Well, fuck.
and then I feel like I can out of Winston, but I mean again it's just like so forced.
But
At least there's some logic there, right?
Winston, you can look at two different ways. You could be Winston's the everyman that gets plucked into this situation.
He went to the job because they were hiring.
Yeah.
So
See, I could easily see myself more in the Dan Aykroyd too, just because the whoever's the brains.
Egon.
But I don't know. I don't fucking
Ray
know. I don't care
Egon.
enough about this dead franchise. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a brand new movie out, but it's dead.
Yeah.
Laura, which one of us are which Ghostbusters?
So, Mike, I have to agree, you're Winston.
Mm.
Corey, you're totally Venkman.
See?
You're so Venkman.
Oh, sorry.
Does it have to be specifically the Ghostbusters?
or a character from the
Okay.
franchise.
Well, I was thinking the
Jeff
Ghost-
wanted
I
this,
would
so-
go with.
Am I gonna be
Chris
Slimer?
Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't want to be Slimer.
well, no. Because I was thinking.
Oh, I'd totally be Slimer.
No. So Egon or Lewis.
Wow.
Who's Lewis?
Well, I'm either
Rick
the really
Moranis.
smart
Oh, okay.
one or the idiot.
Yeah.
How
Or
does that
somewhere
even
in
make
between.
sense?
You'd be a smart idiot.
Story of my life.
For me, I don't know.
I like how you, when we were talking off air, you said you'd be Gozer. I thought that was hilarious.
Well, by
I
default,
he goes her.
by default, you're Dan Aykroyd.
Okay, but I want to be the god, so I'm Gozer.
Yeah, you want to be Gozer?
But if someone asks you if you're a
hell
god, you
no.
say yes.
Laura Gozer. Corey, who is everybody for you?
See,
And you don't have to pick what everyone else picked.
no.
That's why I made
At
us.
least see again. I see that Laura and I are kind of on the same track there.
So- I have to explain, Corey, why you're Bankman. Because you're sarcastic.
Me?
Well, that's yeah.
So your mind is. See, I could be Bankman too because there is no gutter for us. It's like we're the slime below the gutter. So, like, there's just multiple reasons.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah. Who you
Okay.
gonna call?
yeah, right. Noises.
So there's something strange in this neighborhood, guys.
Yeah. Who
Uh,
are you going to call?
Jeff.
I asked Corey first.
I don't think I finished yet.
Well.
Actually, y'all had to interrupt me,
Yeah.
fuckers. Anyway,
Laura
Um,
and Mike are bad for that. Hey, you like try to get out a point and they'll.
I mean, I'm a god. Fuck off.
You're giving me shit for raising my hand the first couple episodes. The podcast I was in, it's just like I'm trying to be nice.
see, in certain aspects, I could see Mike being Egon because what he is knowledgeable about, he is knowledgeable about,
Mhm.
and what he is passionate about, he is passionate about.
So stick with Egon then.
Yeah. So, like, is he the smartest guy in the room? I don't know. I'm not going to make that call, but his passion is unsurpassed. No offense to us, because I feel I'm a passionate person, but I feel his passion is the most intense. Laura, Laura, you're definitely. I go between you because of what you were saying. So I go between Ray and Peter for you. Because you're a hard person. You're not well, and I also go a little bit of Winston because you kind of just came in to come in, but then you started bringing in knowledge, whereas Winston never really added anything to the team except for a physical body.
Until the second one when he gets his PhD and then he tells them that he's a doctor. Yes,
I
he
don't
actually
remember
does.
that
Neither do
at all.
I don't remember that at all.
I remember the second one.
Are you sure?
Right.
I feel like that's.
I think
She
you just
ranked
made
the
it up.
female version above number 2. So.
Anyways, and then yeah, Jeff,
So who is she?
she's
You-
Peter Ray.
She can't be Peter Ray.
Peter Ray.
You have to pick one.
I'm Peter. According to him.
Oh
I'm
my
Peter
god,
Ray
it's
and
another
Winston.
fucking.
I am Gozer.
What's it? What's she do every time? What section does it go into?
Yeah.
No,
I would.
No. See, he's already said that I've got 3 personalities, so therefore I am a god.
Yeah, she does. Honestly, in the long run, I would still say Winston, and this is of no offense, but you. How do I put this?
I'm
Like,
the implant.
Man, she went from Venkman to Ray to Winston.
well,
like, wow.
I mean, in the nicest possible way, and I'm trying to say how to like tiptoe around this. But you- Yeah, see. Anyway, but
Yeah,
but
he's a guy that doesn't mind. Getting
I'm
his
trying to
hands
figure out how to
dirty.
say
I
this,
like
but you
Winston.
don't bring suggestions as much as everyone else. You don't whatever, so you're just happy to be along for the ride.
Yes.
So,
But that is kind of what Winston is.
Right.
Like he.
and again,
No,
we
that he
love
doesn't
Winston.
bring-
It's not
yeah.
like nobody hates Winston. Like nobody should hate
Except
Winston.
for Mike. Mike hates like
I
all
don't
of
hate
them.
That's
Maybe
racist.
so.
I guess that was a black person
Why do
thing
I
for
hate-
Mike.
Yeah,
You
right.
hate Winston, you hate all of Ghostbusters.
Oh, well, it's not that I don't hate it. I just. it's not
I
that
dislike
hate
it with a passion.
I don't hate it. It's just it was great in its time, and now it's not its time. That's all.
But it is its time.
No, it's not.
Well,
If there's a movie that just came out about it that makes it current,
That doesn't make it good.
That's
Okay,
not what you said.
Just
You said it was not its
though.
time.
Well,
Ah,
they
yeah.
force they clearly force things out of its own.
Oh, totally. 100%.
That's all I'm saying.
100%.
I'm not being literal. I'm saying they're trying to push things out of its era. And then
The movie in the theater right now has potentially be the most successful movie in the franchise currently. It's tracking.
It's-
I don't think if you take it chronologically and update everything, I don't
Like-
think it will.
Oh,
Based on inflation.
We've got
Yeah.
8 billion people, double the population, blah blah blah, and all that other stuff.
Yeah,
Time out.
What?
Back on track.
What?
Corey, what's Jeff?
Yeah.
Jeff is Ray.
okay.
Jeff is definitely Ray. Jeff, honestly, like I said, I've had real life opinions as a typed review thing for years now. Like I can't even
Wow,
count.
Jeff.
It's been many years, and I took passion in my writing. But all of a sudden, Jeff came to me about a podcast, and I'm like, yes. So Jeff had the idea. Jeff every week has something to input, something to say, something to make it better, ideas, and I appreciate the shit out of Jeff. So he is definitely the Ray. He is the heart and soul.
Oh, I was gonna say Ray wasn't the idea, but I'm just saying.
No, he had ideas.
That's kind of inaccurate.
Because remember, he was the one more knowledgeable about the occult than anyone else. So
Ray
But
was the
he
one
wanted
that
to buy
pushed.
the firehouse because the pole worked.
yeah,
Who doesn't want to own a fire hall because the pole works?
remember though, Egon is the same guy that
And then the Ray
that
comes up.
Peter had to say. This reminds me of the time he tried to drill a hole in your head. That would have worked if you hadn't stopped me. So Egon is smart, but not really.
So who does that make you, Corey?
That makes him Venkman.
I'm totally Venkman. Yeah,
Right?
The
And
most
he's like-
consistent.
I've got the heart for sure, but I've got more of the sarcasm than anything.
You
So
only became a doctor so you could hit on chicks.
Right.
I understand.
That
there's
does
another
sound-
reason. To hell with saving people.
I do appreciate your personal take
And
on that. I
therefore-
really do.
See, that's where you get the gutter, and we're not in the gutter anymore. We're the slime beneath.
I'm that stuff that hangs onto the grate of the manholes there
He's
that
the
doesn't quite
The,
drop.
the
so-
hate of New York City. That's what you
Yeah.
are.
So, Jeff,
So for me, it's been kind of consistent. I feel like you two are in one category, and me and Corey are in one category.
No, you have to pick.
Oh, I'm just setting the stage here.
He's
Oh,
getting there. He's getting there.
For me,
Why, back
you
in
two
my
have a
day.
little bit of interchangeability, and I think that's been noticed in everybody else's things. For me, Mike, you're the Winston because you're the guy that came in on the ground like after everything kind of got established. You're kind of the guy learning new to it, trying to catch up to everybody else for what everything is here, but you know you're doing the grunt work and you're putting in more effort than everybody else, right? Does that make any sense?
oh, I totally appreciate. I do. I very much appreciate the sentiment, and we're all going to look at it differently, and I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Laura, you know you're the Egon, and like I said, this
Jesus.
could have went either way with you two, because both you have Egon and Winston qualities. I thought you were
Both have
more.
his chin.
I think that you know when you hit that super nerd mode, that you're just like right there, right? Like I've seen you just laser fixate on something.
Like you in Jurassic Park.
Yeah, well, I meant about like let's take for the Oscars
oh yes.
for
Yes.
instance, just like
I'm so mad I missed that
And the
episode.
clothing and the
It was
Yeah.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I did enjoy that one. I can't wait for next.
Yeah.
I was so mad at the clothing.
And I'm going to be grumpy and bitchy about the idea of what it is, but I'm still going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm surprised nobody said that I was Janine, but okay.
I did, but then I was told we had to stay in character. so-
Yeah, you know, you're a bit of a Janine. You are a bit of a Janine. But
Yeah,
if we're
she's
sticking
kind
with
of a
Ghost-
ditz, so-
Janine is not a ditz. Janine's like,
Oh,
She's the sarcastic, mean one on
Yeah,
the
she-
phone. What do you want?
what's this O about? I
forgot. I
Oh,
forgot. I was
oh.
just, I got to find her.
Okay, who is she
Any
that you're at
thoughts?
the font?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just trying to, because I don't remember the movie very well, but
I'm so glad that I stopped talking for this, Mike. You're getting right directly to the point.
no, I'm not getting directly
So
to the
he's
point.
Winston and I'm Egon. Who's Corey?
Well, once again, where I was saying earlier, you guys are kind of in your own block. Me and Corey are kind of in our own block, where like I feel like Venkman and Ray are like you two are clearly Winston and Egon, and we're clearly Ray and Venkman. I'm selfish, so Corey, you're Ray, and I'm Venkman in this because Venkman's the cool guy. Okay, I wanted to be the cool guy.
Wait.
Jeff, you're not sarcastic enough.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Jeff, you're funny, but you're not sarcastic. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yeah, you can be funny without being
Yeah.
sarcastic.
Right?
I am definitely a sarcastic asshole. Like, there's no two ways about it.
I don't know about the asshole part.
I never
It's sarcastic.
said Venkman was an asshole. A pervert, yes. Right?
I am going to keep my mouth shut
You know
in
what,
fear
yeah.
of court documents.
Okay, you're probably more of a Venkman than me. You're probably...
I was just thinking, wait a minute. Are we restricted to the original characters, or could we go with what's her name, Kristen, or Kate
Oh,
McKinnon?
If you
or-
really want to, you
no,
go
I
hard.
just thought it opens up the other female characters.
Right,
Hey.
I just typed in the original Ghostbusters cast. And
I just hit Ghostbusters and it came up. Okay.
Let's hear. Name us off as the female
I don't
cast
know
if you
enough
so.
about it.
Neither do I. I couldn't do it even if I
Kate
wanted to.
McKinnon is an annoying actress to me. I've never seen her. in
Leslie
anything.
Jones is even more annoying.
I liked the other one. What's her name? She was in Wonder Woman, although I didn't. Oh, Kristen Wiig.
Kristen
I liked
Wiig is
her,
an amazing
but I
actress.
didn't like her in Wonder Woman '84, but I do like her in other things.
I never watched 84, but no,
You
Kristen
don't.
Wiig is an
Don't.
amazing actress.
God, don't.
So
Save
no,
your
because
soul.
I do. I have a
Yeah.
soft spot for the first Wonder Woman movie. I didn't want to ruin it.
It's a great movie.
So,
Perfect.
Yeah.
I don't. The first Wonder Woman's better than the second one, but like I don't understand the unadulterated love for the first
Wonder
Wonder Woman.
Woman
Well, it's not
is
love, it's
arguably
just a great movie,
Like
so.
one of the best superhero films, modern times, in my opinion.
And look,
Me-
Snyder didn't make it.
Maybe it just
Yeah.
annoyed me how much it reminded me of the first Captain America movie. Like I guess couldn't help but
It
get
had a lot of
annoyed.
ism. I wouldn't say
There was
comparable, but
parallels
ism.
there, but
Yeah,
that was
parallels.
The whole design to it, like you couldn't avoid it. The
Yeah.
characters, that's what they were.
I mean, look at Marvel.
Out of time,
Marvel
out
and
of place,
DC
you know?
always compare. I mean, Slade Wilson and Wade Wilson. Come on.
I think
Doesn't
just the
sound like
movie
Ghostbusters.
itself just really annoyed me. The
Doesn't sound like
comparables.
Ghostbusters.
Right?
That's
Like,
fair. No, I
like,
agree.
once you got off of
Even
mascara or,
the tones, like the sepia and everything,
Yeah.
it definitely felt.
And just based on
Well,
the way that
I would
oh,
say
we're gonna
they're
have it in
talking
World
right
War One
now,
instead of World War II. Like,
They're
Yeah.
Melissa McCarthy and Kate McKinnon.
Okay.
Please do not call me
Are-
Melissa
So
McCarthy.
That's who you are. You two.
I'm
Your
Melissa
characters-
McCarthy.
You can be.
Which
I don't want to be
one's
You
Melissa
can be
McCarthy.
Abby Yates, and you can be Jillian Holtzman.
Can Mike be Chris Hemsworth?
If she
I
can't be
got
Denise,
the
he can't be
looks,
Chris
but, you
Hemsworth.
know.
Right?
Obviously, and the abs.
And maybe the height.
No, I think you
One
got
big
the
ab.
inches in there, yeah.
Yeah.
I got the delts. I'll give that.
He can be
He
Uncle
probably has
Bill,
4
the
inches
one
on
who
me
yells
too,
at
but I don't know what I'm
everybody.
talking about.
You guys might not remember the scene, but we all got to take a moment to appreciate the one scene in the girl one that everyone can appreciate is when Bill Murray is just like, "Oh, look at you, ghost! Look at you, ghost! Oh, let the ghost out of there!" And then the ghost like immediately fucking kills Bill Murray.
Throws him out the window.
Yes. Can we not all appreciate that scene? What are we doing here, guys?
Don't worry about it.
No worry
I-
about it.
I'm
I got
yes,
it. I got it.
Okay.
Are we doing Mad Libs here?
No, we're not.
Okay. Mike is writing
Don't worry.
something
No,
down.
no. It's just something I wanted to remember.
Okay. So I talked about the female one and everybody's ignoring me, eh?
Go.
I'm sorry, were you talking about the female one?
Murray gets thrown out the window by the ghost, yeah.
That's a funny
And
scene, right?
You know the whole
Funny?
get out of my friend. Right? Yeah.
Well, we're running out of time. When we get back, we're going to do a quick what genre is it? And then we'll end
And
this
for all 4.
for yes, for
Yeah.
all 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, we're back in the shop.
So, Laura, is this a horror movie?
No.
Ghostbusters.
God, no.
If you say that, I swear to God, you're kicked out.
It's not a horror movie. And the first one is
Don't.
the only one that was even close to being a horror movie, but it's not. It had some elements,
That cab driver, I'm saying.
Yeah.
That was
Well,
about the only part.
That was
but-
the only part, but
and the dogs.
I
The
guess,
dogs were
yeah.
pretty freaky, man.
I mean, in a stop motion sort of way,
Yeah.
green screen sort of way,
I
but
like
yeah.
how you put that, Corey. It was really creepy. Good in a stop motion kind of way. Okay. Doesn't hold up, is what you're saying?
Especially because I have it on Blu-ray. It's so bad.
I've said it in nauseum how I'm not a fan of stop motion, never was. So
I'm excited because they've been talking about, like, with Beetlejuice, he went the route of stop motion to keep it like the original, like the new one
yeah?
coming out.
Yeah.
So I'm excited just for that. So
that's a movie we didn't need to do.
There's
no,
a
but
lot of
I will
movies
watch it.
we don't need to do.
Well,
a lot of
this
movies.
this is fair.
Anyway, so where are we starting with, Jeff?
For
Where do we put it?
yeah,
I think I don't know. Are they all comedies?
Yes.
Like 3 is definitely a comedy.
Name one actor that's known
Well-
for non-comedy.
That
Well,
is inconsequential.
but think about Old Dads. We all put that in the drama section. Yet it was 3 comedians.
this
Right.
is true.
Yes, but it wasn't. It's not the same.
Yeah.
These guys. I mean, Bill Murray did. If you could see, or no, Dan Aykroyd did. If you could see what I hear, which was a dramatic thing, but we don't know him for that, and he just schlocked it up. They all schlocked it up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Where would you place it, Jeff?
The problem with, especially the original one, it was one of the first movies that really mashed the fucking genres together, was it not? Like, there was pure comedies, there was pure actions, there were pure horrors, and that movie gets decided, no, we're just gonna squish these 3 genres together.
What are the 3?
Horror.
Action, comedy, horror.
See, I wouldn't.
I
have
don't
considered
see
horror
horror
in
at
that
all.
one.
It was too
I
goofy to be horror.
fair, but have you seen 70s, 80s horror? Anyway,
Okay.
anyway.
I'm not trying to make a case for it to go in the horror, but to deny that there wasn't horror smashed into a comedy is undeniable.
I 100%.
No.
I agree.
I don't. But
It was about dead ghosts and
can
like
As opposed to the live ones.
and demonic creatures coming back to life.
yeah,
like
but the minute it becomes you put that stuff into a comedy, it doesn't change. It becomes goofy and comedic.
So you're saying Army of Darkness is not a horror?
Army of Darkness. They tried to take a turn. It's still
So
that has a different tone than Ghostbusters.
I'm not
but-
saying it's a horror. I'm
I
saying
know.
it's a horror smashed into a
Right,
comedy.
Okay, it's a
So-
failed attempt to try. and
Yeah,
put
I wouldn't
horror
even
into
call it
something.
failed.
see, and okay, Jeff, I completely see where you're coming from, and I'm going to use Army of Darkness as an example.
Yeah.
Because Army of Darkness was originally filmed as a horror movie, but because he was too comedic.
Bad.
No, it wasn't even that it was bad.
He said that. He said it himself.
He thought it was bad. But for the director and everybody, he was too comedic, so that made it more of a comedy. But it's still classified as a horror movie.
Yeah, because Evil Dead 1 was pure horror with
Yeah.
a hint of Bruce Campbell comedy.
Yeah.
Evil Dead 2, you started to see how he could do a one-liner and everything. And essentially, Evil Dead 2 is a remake of 1, which is the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
And then Evil Dead 3 is a direct sequel to part 2, like
So-
seconds later type thing.
So now you're talking about a follow-up to 2 clearer horrors, where that never had a setup of a horror. It had horror, an attempt to throw
But-
horror in it, as Jeff
so-
pointed out.
Dan Aykroyd's intention was always it was kind of horrific, though.
So
That's true.
His was that it was supposed to be
The
more
road to
horror.
hell is paved with
but
good
then-
intentions.
But then you have Harold Ramis, who wanted more of the comedy and more of science. And more
Well, Ivan Reitman and Harold Ramis, right? They worked
Yes.
together on so much comedies, right?
Yep.
So, but
See-
then Dan Aykroyd had he actually is a firm believer in the occult, and
Yes.
so all that stuff, him, his uncle, everything like that, they threw in. And I will agree with Jeff, the horrific elements and the ghost elements, the occult elements. So I think you hit the nail on the head when you say it's a mashup.
Yes.
I think they may have intended that, but I think the comedy is so overwhelming that the horror is lost.
It's-
And to back to that, to say about Army of Darkness, it is a comedy. It is not a horror, even though it has these grotesque scenes.
Yeah, it
and
was like
whatever.
blood and guts and
It
gore.
is-
And
yeah, I totally would put it in the comedy section.
where'd you put 13 Ghosts?
I haven't really seen that one.
You still haven't watched it.
Oh, right, you
it's
weren't with us yet.
It's definitely
Never
a
mind.
horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny.
Yeah.
But it's a horror movie, totally, 100%.
Yeah.
But
So
you're
But
right. Jeff,
But again, sorry.
but Jeff, you're right in that scenario because that was the first one to actually do it. It was like, okay, we're gonna try something new.
Did it come out before or after Gremlins?
before,
Before Gremlins?
like
Because
barely, but yeah.
Gremlins was doing it too, right?
They were less comedy though.
Oh, you
The-
see,
the-
I
the
think
Ghostbusters.
I think Gremlins is funnier than the first.
Well, and then the
Ghostbusters.
irony being is that Gremlins was directed by a horror director,
Yes.
and they turned comedy, whereas Ghostbusters was directed by a comedy director, and they took some horrific turns.
Yes.
See the comedy in the Gremlins, and I didn't like it because it was like let's make each Gremlin a freaking pop culture whatever, and
But that was the
I
second.
hated that.
That was
That
the
was
second
second
one.
one.
That was the
Oh,
second,
The first one, they were just creatures.
right?
So-
You had your one that was it was stripes. That
Did
was
the first
very
ones
defined.
not take over the theaters? And
Yeah,
all
but
that
they
now?
didn't have
But
their
they
own
had the
personalities.
Oh,
They had the hats and the
You-
cigars.
you're-
No, that was the second one.
No, in the bar
oh,
scene.
the
Yeah.
bar scene, it did
Yeah.
happen a little bit, but like it happened.
But it wasn't a personality thing. Whereas in the second one, they had personalities, each
Oh.
and every one of them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Again, I mean that's a movie that I don't remember well.
Right?
one of our highest grossing listens,
Yeah.
actually. So-
Yes.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about the original plan for Ghostbusters, eh? Because it was supposed to be John Belushi, Eddie Murphy, and Dan Aykroyd, eh?
Yeah.
How different would that movie have been if John Belushi hadn't passed away?
I think it would have been more comedy.
To-
Way more
Well,
comedy.
I think John Belushi and Eddie Murphy are. Bill Murray brought the comedy, but like, it would have been there'd be no debate
no,
if it was John Belushi and Eddie Murphy.
John Belushi was what Chris Farley turned into. Like
No, oh, sorry.
he was,
I'll let
but
you-
he was physical comedy, body comedy.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously I can't see this on a microphone, but he threw his body all over the place, and that's what I loved about him. That's what I loved about Chris Farley is, I'll always think of Chris Farley, fat guy in little coat. Like, it was funny, and then you got freaking girls like Melissa McCarthy and Amy Schumer who make body humor, and it's not funny. So,
It's kind of cringe.
It's very
Schumer-
cringe.
When Schumer does it, it's
it's terrible.
I always felt like Chris Farley was the white Jim Belushi or John
Yeah.
Belushi.
Right.
He's
John Belushi was white, right?
I know, but we got a blonde and brunette, and John Belushi always had that dark Italian kind of dark skin kind of vibe.
Yeah.
And I thought John Belushi was far more of a legend in the sense Animal House.
Oh, totally.
And some of that stuff. I never got on the Farley wagon.
Chris
I
Farley
heard
had
his
some
friends
great
talk really
movies,
bad about
and
him.
then he had his not so great movies. Whereas Belushi pretty well hit it out of the park every movie.
And his brother kind of helped him there.
Jim was great in the '90s, and then he fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah, yeah.
So
a random episode of According to Jim was on the other day in my household, and I'm just like, man, this series is not holding up good. Like, his kid.
but Canine,
Mr. Destiny was pretty amazing.
Mr. Destiny was fantastic. Real Men with
Oh, I don't remember that one.
John Ritter.
I don't remember that one.
Jim Belushi was a secret CIA agent with a pen that would, it's
Okay,
fantastic. And then
okay.
John
Might have to
Ritter.
check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a deep cut, that's for sure.
Am I the only one that doesn't think the first two movies are like terribly funny? Like
Like Ghostbusters?
yeah, I don't.
Uh,
I don't think like Bill Murray's got a couple lines and
Rick Moranis.
Rick Moranis, and that's
And Rick Moranis was more, again, physical comedy than he was verbal comedy.
I was never at any point in either one of those two movies, especially not the third one. The third one's almost devoid of comedy.
The ladies one?
Or the second one I meant.
Oh,
The
okay.
second one. That's almost like, I feel like that would be people's problem with the first or the third one because it's too funny. But like the second one I meant is almost devoid of all comedy. When you look at it,
I kind of
it's
think they did that on purpose.
I don't think they let Bill Murray run loose like he did in the first
and like
one.
he said, he really didn't want to be there. He was kind of forced into it,
Yeah.
so he wasn't Bill Murray.
See, and when Aykroyd pitched his idea for the third, and it didn't happen, there was other pitches, and Bill Murray officially is like, nope, I'm done with this crap. And then 2010, that video game came out, and he came back to voice Peter, and I think he's like, okay, there's something here. And then that's, I think, why he did the cameo in the Girls one, because he's like, okay, I still have a heart for this series.
Mhm.
And then he played himself again, played Peter Venkman again in the Afterlife, and so.
So, back to the point of what genre is it? First two are science fiction. Third one's a comedy. Fourth one's a drama. That's where I'm going to put it. I've decided on this.
Okay.
I'm having a hard time arguing.
I was thinking long and hard because I was going to put them all in comedy. No. The first two are science fiction. The third one is clearly a comedy. And the fourth one is a drama. So, that's... you guys can argue if you want.
There is not much comedy in the fourth one, is there? Like, there's a couple of one-lines.
The fourth one's, if there's any one that's a drama, it's the fourth one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, like a movie where it made me tear up at the end, right? Like that shouldn't happen in a comedy. I mean, it does, but it does.
A good comedy can do that.
Yeah, but it definitely hit me more in the feels than it did in the Funny Bone.
See, and the only ones that I'm really having a hard time agreeing with you on are only one I'm having a hard time agreeing with you on is the first one. And I'm not really 100% sure where to put it.
Well, that was the problem. Like the first one was very close to being a comedy for me, but I was just like, it's just, I couldn't put the second one as a comedy.
No.
I really couldn't.
No, the second one is, to me, okay, it's got a lot of science fiction to it, but second one would be more drama for me.
Mm-hmm.
First one, if I had to throw it somewhere, it would be science fiction, but it's...
You wouldn't throw it in comedy? It's actually very hard when you think about it.
I would not. I would throw the second one in comedy only because pretty much every character is two-dimensional in that show. And that, thus, I find makes it comedic. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like I said, Afterlife, they're very fleshed out characters, I thought, and it's a very fleshed out story, I thought, and I have no problems agreeing that that's a drama. So
Laura, where have you figured out where you're going to put everything?
All except for the first one. So for me, like I said,
so where do you put number 4?
Number 4 is drama.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Just because of Hemsworth is comedy.
Yes.
Just because of Chris Hemsworth. Excuse me.
The girls super ham it up in that one too.
They do.
They ham the shit out of it.
So for me, like that was early in their careers too, and they tried too hard.
I wouldn't say early in their careers. Leslie Jones and Kate McKinnon were huge for Saturday Night Live.
And Melissa McCarthy had been a big star at that time too.
Well, that was before her or after her show too, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, she had been doing movies for a while at that point.
I never saw any of them up until that point.
Yeah,
and
so, to me,
I've seen 2 movies she's been in because I can't stand her. So
see, and I loved her in Identity Thief. I loved her in the one with Sandra Bullock, Heat.
That was okay.
The Heat's probably my favorite.
Yeah.
If I had to pick a favorite, Melissa McCarthy, or that one she did with Bill Murray, I want to say St. Vincent was pretty good.
Yeah.
That one was good. If you haven't watched it, watch Hell's Kitchen.
Hell's Kitchen, eh? I don't know if I've seen her.
Has it got Daredevil in it? Because that'd be pretty amazing if it had Daredevil in it.
I think I meant
Chef Ramsay's kind of boring.
Yeah.
Right. But no, watch Hell's Kitchen. That one was good.
So drama, comedy, number 2.
That one I would put more into drama. Just because I didn't find it funny at all.
Yeah, I don't know if it was dramatic enough for me to put it into drama. That's why I had to put it in science fiction.
For me, I put it into drama because they're too serious, but it's not action enough to be an action. And minus the cult, it's not scientific-y enough.
But they're scientists.
I know, but it's just not there.
Okay.
And I still don't know where to put the first one. So I'm going with sci-fi for that one.
Oh, shouldn't you put it in your other place there? Or you put every
Staff
other
picks.
It only goes in staff picks if I really, really like it. We'll put it in Roger staff picks.
Ouch.
Mike, where would you put
I'm
them
going to
in?
put them all in Laura's staff picks. And that's it.
Wow,
Done.
that is a cop-out answer. if I
And
ever
a
heard of
half.
one.
I hate to leave it like this because I don't. The first two are fucking comedies, and there's no way you could convince me they are otherwise. Even though they were or were not funny or whatever, however you think of it, they were clearly designed to be comedies and that sort of thing. So, and the third one, yeah, comedy. Chris Hemsworth takes it there all the freaking way. And then Afterlife, what do you call it? What was the word?
I'm scared.
Sappy shoehorn section? Is there a shoehorn sappy?
I feel there isn't.
No, if you can't have a staff pick section, you can't have whatever that is.
When did you ever concede that we didn't have a staff pick?
Every time they kept telling me no.
You never made it lives in your staff.
It lives. It lives.
Afterlife was money grab. And I have no idea.
We don't have a money grab section in the
Ah,
video store. If we did, you would
Oh, okay. It's in the ICU where the horse is having its life support still pumping in there.
So it's in my Iron Man.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it on F movies because it didn't.
I thought his guess occurred to me.
Oh.
Are we allowed to have a discount bin in the video
Oh,
store?
God, yes! Yes!
So that's the female one.
To me, that is the female one, totally. But no, because of the way I rated it, number 2 would go in there as well. So
Right next to Leprechaun 8.
Hey now.
Totally agree.
Anyway.
Oh man, sorry. I'll tell you this. I enjoyed them when they were there, and that was what did I say? 14, 24, 34, 40 years ago. And
we all know you're old.
They
Mike.
lived nicely then, and I have no need to see more of it. There's nothing they can do to refresh.
Remember
in my mind.
that conversation that we had about you bashing her nostalgia?
Oh yeah, he's a nostalgia basher. He likes it.
See,
Meanwhile, next week we're doing the new Ghostbusters movie.
my heart hurts.
Achoo!
Seriously.
Achoo!
Well, Mike might be sick next week. Yeah, so
So, Corey, where do you rank them?
Do we have to see it?
Yes.
it helps. It really helps.
You don't have to necessarily pay for it if you can.
I got a movie
Figure a
ticket I
way
can give you.
If you can
I
figure out
don't know
another way
if
to see
I don't
it.
even know if I'll have time. My life is gonna.
Oh, this week is so full with me with mainly your stuff. So,
Yeah.
I'm heartbroken by your lack of open-mindedness in the last movie.
He's a very closed-minded fellow. Isn't
You
he?
are not supposed to live your life through my opinions.
I know, and I don't.
Okay.
But today, I think it's because I'm tired. It's late. But okay, we'll start from the top. Working in a video store for as long as I did, Ghostbusters 1 and 2 went into comedy. Absolutely, 100%.
Yep.
Ghostbusters 3 came out after my store closed. I will obviously put it in comedy. There's no two ways about it. Now, going back to what I was saying about part 2, every character is two-dimensional in part 2. It's like they took part 1, realized they made something. They did flesh out personalities in the first one, but then they took a snippet of those personalities and then used that to define their entire personality in part 2. Part 3, again, just stupid comedy. Part 4, I will go for drama too. Part 4 was not, in my opinion, a cash grab. Because Jason Reitman made it basically because of his dad. He made it as a love letter to his dad. And
Who's his dad?
Ivan. Like the original
the director.
director,
Oh,
his son did the Afterlife. And he got Ivan grandfathered the project, but then he passed away. And it's, I don't know, it was just so heartfelt, and it was the reason I hate I hate remakes when I hate remakes, because I actually like remakes. The reason I hate remakes when I hate remakes is because they're cash grabs, because they don't have any heart, because they don't have. This one felt like an actual natural story. It didn't feel like a cash grab. They actually fleshed out a story They fleshed out the characters. Sidebar, maybe the kids. They were a little too two-dimensional. But the mother was good. Paul Rudd was good. Yeah, and then like the whole having the boys back, they seemed like them again. They weren't like mailing it in. And then the tribute to Harold Ramis, like I said, it brought tears to my eyes because I was so attached to those movies growing up. That and you can call that nostalgia, but I call that they wrote the story so well that it reminded me of how much I love that series. And that's what I think a good movie can do. That's basing off of nostalgia is write you a whole new story, but give you the feels of the original type thing. Whereas it's not piggybacking off the original. It's a whole new story. And it's amazing. Like, honestly, I could argue that I would put 4 in front of 1 sometimes because it was such tribute, but you can't have
That's okay to do.
4. You can't have 4 without 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's time travel.
yeah.
But that
You
doesn't,
can't.
that doesn't mean that Empire is not better than New Hope.
Fair enough. But yeah, so I again, as much as I say 4, 1, 4, 2, 3, 4 and 1 are interchangeable because there's more heart in 4 than any of the other movies. There's more, I think, well done of a story in 4 than any of the other movies, but the first one's just still a classic.
I can get behind the best story in 4. I hate we found this stuff and we just can use it. That trope has always bugged me.
I mean, it was a switch. They figured out how to flick a switch.
For me, what I actually didn't like about the 4th one was the whole, Egon was crazy and he did this and he abandoned his
But I
family.
could see him doing that.
I cannot
Egon was
see-
crazy.
Crazy, yes, but I cannot
Eccentric.
see him abandoning his family if he were to have one. That just doesn't seem like.
I don't know. He did not seem like a family guy. He seemed like a guy who was more interested in science than he was relationships.
I actually feel like that's more accurate that he would have left his family for science.
Yeah.
That actually, like, he seems like the kind of guy that's so wrapped up in his work that he would totally abandon his family.
Remember in part 2, he's
yes.
like, let's see what happens when they take away the puppy.
Right. I mean, maybe science, yes, but for the way that he ended up going out, like putting nothing but a giant trap in that yard, that just no.
So, just gathering my thoughts. I totally appreciate somebody who has a passion for those original ones, and because you appreciated Harold Ramis more than I did, so I can totally appreciate why somebody like you would connect that. And so I don't want to diminish that idea. I know my thoughts were breaking your heart a little bit.
A little bit. I
But
mean,
it's a perspective thing too.
I get over it pretty
If
quick.
you
It's
get-
fine. So
No. I didn't think I was going to get kicked out of the group. Maybe next
Yes.
week. But,
maybe next week.
Uh,
He is
My
kind of on
point-
thin ice, isn't he?
but my point,
Tiptoe.
my point is we're all going to look at that and I don't. We're not going to say because of my passion and that makes it better. It makes it more personal.
Well,
You know what
as
I
we
mean?
say, we're opinions here, right?
Well,
So
and that's what I mean. That's what I
we're
mean,
supposed to be an
right?
opinionated podcast. So
Told by fans and not
that's what I'm
critics.
saying,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying. Is I didn't get it. I didn't appreciate it like you because you connected with those characters.
and that's a big thing for me because I am being obviously such a movie guy.
Yeah.
I do catch myself over connecting to a fictional character.
Yeah.
I do that a lot.
And if we were to break down, there's certain characters that you'll connect to, and certain characters that I'll connect to, and or whatever.
and they may not.
and they're probably not the same. You know?
Yeah.
I've got a father-son thing when it comes to movies. If they want to connect that, they do it well. Oh man, that's a bad place to go.
See,
You know?
and I completely get that. And for me, like I said, I have a hard time with the whole abandoning the family thing because I grew up with it.
Yeah.
So, I have a hard time with that. But like Corey said, even me, all of a sudden, a movie that I end up really interested in is because I connected with the character.
Which is art in a
If you
nutshell.
can't connect with the characters,
Yeah.
you're not going to have a great movie.
Right?
Yeah.
And
Well, like I said, art, whether it be theater, whether it be paintings, whether it be, it's all about connecting in one way or the other, whether it be
Yeah.
physically or emotionally.
on your one point you were saying about how the first 2 movies were framed as a comedy, I feel like there is a little bit of a counterpoint to that they were not framed as a comedy, just they happen to have funny people in them. I think that's more what happened with the first two Ghostbusters, in my opinion.
Well,
I don't think there's a lot of
all the
outlandish.
characters were funny, like the Slimer, all the
Was Slimer
everything-
funny? I didn't find Slimer funny.
So in the
He
He was
first
funny in the
one-
second one because he bus drove Lewis to the
Okay, in the
museum.
second one, yes. In the second one, he has some funny moments.
Right, yeah. So in the first one, he was actually meant to be scary.
Yeah.
But,
So he was meant to be John Belushi.
right.
That's-
So I guess he could have been meant to be funny. I guess he's a little bit. I guess it's more of a comedic character than I'm giving it credit for, to be honest. Hey,
But isn't it in the second? Was it the second one that they brought his wife into it? Like the girl Slimer?
that's the third one.
Is that the third one? And then,
Yeah.
I was like, "There's a girl slime."
There's a girl
Makes
Slimer.
sense.
I haven't. I blocked out the girl one. So
Right. See, and obviously that's all I remember. Oh no, wait! I also remember Chris Hemsworth being possessed and dancing in midair. So yeah,
that I remember.
Like,
Yes!
Even though I like it, I'm not going to say it's a great movie.
But that's all I took away from that movie was
The dancing.
the dancing and the girl Slimer.
They cut like a whole dancing, and thank fucking God they did. There was like a whole 10-minute thing. I was
Probably
like,
would have made more sense.
It probably would have, yeah.
but we're just about out of time tonight there, kids. It's nice to get on a topic that so much engaging.
Yeah, a
talk
lot of
about.
passion one way or the
I
other.
didn't
So
want to engage. I tried, but
we appreciate that you did.
You know what,
You
Mike?
an A for effort.
Here's the way we all got to look at it. We're not every movie is going to be the movie that we want to do or we want to revisit it, but yet our opinions still matter on that, right? Like,
I totally see. My problem is why I'm disappointed is I couldn't give much. I don't remember it well enough, and I didn't connect with it. I couldn't. Oh, it was really well done for what it was intended to be. All my smart aleck shit that I say.
but you still brought a terrific perspective
You
tonight,
did.
Mike.
No, did I?
You did.
Well, I appreciate that. Mike's got a mic.
I'm sorry, you were talking.
Well, 3 times tonight, people made me feel good. So
No, we'll change that next time around. So next week we're doing the brand new movie. Mike may or may not make it.
Damn, this cold.
I'm kind of less excited after seeing the Rotten Tomato score, but Rotten Tomatoes doesn't mean
No,
much.
but I've been hearing so many people's posts that please ignore the critics and watch it. It's fun.
Yeah.
So, and my issue is, and this is a pet peeve, even working at the store and everything too, is people would go based off of Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
And you can't do that.
The worst
cannot
freaking
do that.
critic
worst
system in the
critic
world. Yeah.
And again, I'm using a horror movie for this, but they gave the Babadook 100.
What's the Babadook?
The shittiest horror movie in existence.
I didn't hate it. It wasn't great by any stretch of the term, but I didn't hate it.
I'm
What was it
mom.
rated as one of the greatest movies of all time?
I didn't watch it for
According to
that.
Rotten Tomatoes, but I'm a mom. I love my kids. I wanted to strangle that kid.
Yeah, I didn't hate that. Same with the one in the play that he haunted the play, and they were doing the play one more time, and
Oh yes.
starts with a B as well, but I
Yeah.
can't think.
The shit.
Yeah, that one. Anyway,
Oh shit! Hey,
I heard
hey,
they said
hey,
the same
hey.
thing about Madam Web. Ignore the critics. Go. And I tried to get it. but
I refuse to see that movie.
I
So
want to see it, and I would have paid money. I would have paid 4 tickets.
We're running out of time here, folks. Mike, what do you got on the go quickly? You got 10 seconds.
Things are going. Shakespeare in the Park starting up. Oh, big thing. ADFA One Act Festival on May the 4th. Has nothing to do with Star Wars, but we got heroes. Lizards don't have dicks.
Your 10 seconds
Starring
is up,
Jeff.
Laura. You're up.
Oh, so we're not talking about how this play is starting.
You've got 10 seconds.
Oh, would you
What do I
like to
have?
use your 10 seconds on Jeff?
Right?
Say goodbye. Say goodbye.
He
Corey?
plays the dad.
I enjoyed this episode. Thank you, everybody. Just you know where to find us on social media. This is not new.
Okay. So long.
If I had a dick, this is where I'd tell you to suck it.
Is that it?